Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is episode number 32. I have no finished objects this time. I am still working on the 3 pairs of socks that I'm making for my great nephew and 2 great nieces. I haven't really had a whole lot of time, and I've been kind of spreading myself a little bit thin with projects. Even though I don't have a whole lot of time, I'm trying to do a lot of things, and it's just getting me to where I have so many things going and I'm not really finishing anything. But I do have one of the tiny socks that I'm making. Look at it. It's so adorable. It looks super out of proportion because it's rib. I decided to do a 1x1 twisted rib just so that I can make sure that they fit, because I might have gone a little bit big in the circumference because I wasn't quite sure, and I figured at least in the rib they'll scrunch in enough if they are a little bit on the loosey-goosey side. That'll help take care of that. But look, it's so cute. And again, this yarn here, the main yarn is Pandia's Jewels Tribbles. This is the Tribbles yarn on the squidgy base. And it's so autumnal. It kind of, as I'm knitting it, it kind of makes me think of candy corn. So these are for the youngest, and she's getting orange toes, and I did have enough to do a cuff. I have started the second sock, and I'm about halfway through the foot. These were toe up, and as a matter of fact, I did start over on this sock because I think I mentioned I was doing the vanilla-esque pattern, and it had that little rib. I'm sorry, a little crochet. The cables along either side of the fronts, and I told you I was having problems with the laddering. Well, I had stopped that, and I'm going to put in a photo and show you why I stopped it, because that little bit that I was planning on leaving there for decoration on the bottom edge of the foot started to make the toe curl up, and it was pulling it in. I didn't like how that looked, so I went ahead and I frogged the entire sock. Plus, I decided that I wanted to try something different with the toe, because I like the toe that I had found using the Summer Breeze socks, and it was a different kind of toe up construction, and I really like that. But I was also curious because I had been browsing Ravelry, and I had seen a lot of swirl toe or round toe, and I wanted to try that. So that's what I'm doing. So I started completely from scratch, and this is like a swirled, rounded kind of toe. It's kind of hard to see, but it started out with 8 stitches on my DPNs and increased up to a total of 44 for this particular one. And so I like this better. I think it came out really good, and I did get this far on the second sock. So there's that. I really need to get focused so I can get the other 2 pairs started and done. I want to be able to ship them off soon before it starts getting really cold. My niece and her cute little family, they live in North Carolina. So I need to be able to send these off soon. It was, it's been scorching hot all summer, and this morning, because I had to leave here for work about 5:45 to get to work, and usually it's been, kind of warm, and you can tell it's going to be a crazy hot day. Today was the first day that I felt like I needed a shawl outside that early in the morning. Of course, by the time we left work now at 4 o'clock, it was sweltering hot. But you can tell the temperatures are starting to change, so I think that's a sign that the seasons are going to start changing soon. So I want to get those socks done so I can mail them off before fall really hits. So I did that. The other thing that I'm super excited about, and this is what really distracted me the most from making the socks, is because I mentioned a couple of episodes ago that Josh Reichs-Rabinski, Geonitrix is, I think that's his Ravelry name, and he's sort of a knitter on Instagram. He had come up with the Thrive shawl, which was the 3-color DK weight, and I was so excited. I had mentioned it because I couldn't find any pattern that I loved with these 3 yarns. These were the 3 Irish Girls Springvale DK in the Midnight, Driftwood, and Wendy Darling colorways. So I worked on that. I pulled it out, and I think the last time that I showed this, I was still about here because I hadn't added in the second color yet. Is that the back side? That is the back side. This is better. Ah, yeah, now you can see. The Wendy Darling is so pretty with this brown. I love it. It's just subtle. Most of my shawls are very wild and outlandish colors, and this one is just so pretty and soft, and I just love it. So I think that this pattern is gonna have, let's see, I just finished this, so I'm gonna have another brown section, then I'll have one more of the pink, one more brown, so that's 3 more sections before I start adding in the blue. But it's going by really quick. I couldn't stop. I was like, one more wedge, just one more. And it's a lot of short rows, so it seems to go by a lot faster. And it really was that potato chip knitting moment, because I just didn't want to put it down. I was like, just one more, just one more. I could do it. I got time to do another one. So I just kept doing it, and I'm glad I did. I was having a really, really good time. So I'm going to put this back in my wonderful booga bag that I love so much. The other thing that distracted me, I mentioned a while back that I had bought a bunch of bare yarn off of the Gnome Acres website when she was closing. They did, I believe, close officially already. I haven't actually gone back to look, but I believe that July 31st was the official close date. But they were getting rid of a lot of their yarns, especially the bare yarns, and I did order a bunch. So I decided that I wanted to dye 8 skeins of some of the DK that I had. I've been totally on a DK mindset. Well, this Thrive shawl is going to use just one of these driftwoods, but I think I have like 5. I don't know why, but I loved this yarn and I ordered a whole bunch. So I found another shawl, or I'm sorry, no, this is a cardigan. And I've never knit myself a cardigan before. No, that's a lie. Because I did do one that I shrunk that was, I think I mentioned it on here. It was a while, like way at the beginning when I first started podcasting. I think I did mention an alpaca short sleeved cardigan that I did, and I accidentally washed it and it shrunk, and it's forever makes me sad when I think about it. That was the only time that I have knit myself a cardigan, and it was just a short, it was a very short, just barely a cap sleeve. Very fun, but that's the only time that I had ever knit anything like that for myself. So this is going to be a long sleeved cardigan, striped, and it's going to be using that same driftwood color. And then I thought for the main color, it's going to have striping, and then along the bottom edges detail, it's going to have some lace. So I got 8 skeins for the main color, and I dyed them in some more of that powdered drink mix that I had used the last time I showed you some dyeing. And I dyed them all together in one big pan, like a big metal pan that goes in the oven. It's like the turkey. You make a big giant turkey in it. It's huge. And so I dyed it in that, and it came out very tonal, each skein is just slightly different from the other, so I'm gonna have to alternate these when I'm using them so that it doesn't show a big difference between skeins. But I love it. It's gonna go so pretty up against that slightly darker brown. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a picture of the cardigan that I want to use. I can't think of the name right now. And that's not going to be made for a very, very long time, but that's what I was thinking about because I was working with the DK and I was like, oh, I have DK yarn in there that's bare and I got to dye it, and it's so much fun to dye all the things. So that's what I was doing instead of working on my socks. So I did that, and I'm very pleased with how it came out. I have so far not been disappointed using food coloring or the Easter egg dye tablets or the sports drinks, and I think I dyed something with tea a while back. I have not been disappointed with any of that at all since I started doing it. I have tons and tons more bare yarn that I had gotten from the Gnome Acres website, and I think that there's a big part of me that wants to try and do acid dyes, and I've been looking at the Jacquard acid dyes, and I think Knit Picks also has another one called another brand called Greener Shades. I don't know the difference between them, but I've been kind of looking, and then I'm like, oh, I know that this isn't something that I want to do a lot of all the time, so I don't know that I want to buy those because I don't know, they look kind of big, and I don't know that I want to have all of this dye just hanging around and not use it for anything after I do the yarn that I've already got. So I don't know if I'm on the fence about buying it. It's not like I need it right away, so I'm still contemplating, but part of me wants to try the more vibrant colors that you can get with the acid dyes, because with the food coloring and then food grade type dyes, it's kind of pastel, and I like it. I love it. And you can get some pretty vibrant. I think I showed you guys some really bright, deep oranges and purples that I had gotten. But you can't get a black. You can't get a really good gray. The really deep, dark colors, navies and burgundies and stuff like that, you can't get with the food coloring. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm gonna have to think a little bit longer. I don't know. Oh, I'm scared that I'm gonna mess it up. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Speaking of dyeing with food coloring, I think this was food coloring. Yes. So I've talked a lot about Rebecca from ChemKnits tutorials here on YouTube, and she's got I got fluff on my lips, sorry. And she's also got her Etsy shop, ChemKnits Creations, and I have bought a lot of yarn from her, and most recently I ordered some that she did. This was a fun one. She put up, I don't know what you call it, something, where you can order on her Etsy shop, but it was really like I guess kind of like a subscription. I don't know how else to explain it. But what she did was you chose a yarn base of the ones that she was planning on dyeing in the future. So it's kind of like a pre-order. You chose the yarn base, and then you picked a number. I think it was between 1 and 8 or something like that. And then after you completed your order, you waited for her video to come out, or I'm sorry, she was doing a live stream. It was fun because I got to watch a live YouTube stream of her dyeing all of these pre-orders. I think it was 8, and she dyed them live during the stream, and it took a couple of hours at least, because in between she stops and she talks, and it's just really fun interacting. She was interacting with all of us during the live stream and dyeing at the same time. So you drew a number, and the number corresponded to which order, the order in which she was going to dye these different bases. And she had a big bowl of Wilton's food colorings, and she chose them at random. She took 2 colors And for person number one, which happened to be me, she chose two random colors, just kind of blindly grabbed them and dyed those two colors to see how they would mingle. She dip-dyed to get hopefully some sort of breaking of colors. And so what I ended up with, she had gotten, I don't actually remember the two colors she used, but this is what I ended up with. Green. I was thrilled that my surprise random color was mostly green, and it's got some tonals in there. And then at the other end, it ended up this really pretty, very light turquoise. It looks almost like a powder blue, but it's more on the turquoise end in reality. But it was a wonderful surprise. And like I said, it was just so fun. It was a really cool idea that she, you did this kind of pre-order thing, and then you got to watch her dye during a live stream and interact with her while she's doing it. And she's just, I like her so much. She's just fun. So I really enjoyed that. And this was, she did this on, I think it's a superwash. Yeah, this is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon fingering weight. So I'm very, very excited, and I think these are going to be a pair of socks. There's a pattern that I like, and it's called Here Be Dragons. I think that's what the sock pattern is called. And it's green. I love dragons. They go together. Woo! So that's another thing that I got, and I'm super excited with. And I mean, you can do some really cool stuff with food coloring. So I don't know, I may not actually break down and buy some of the actual acid dyes, but it's something to think about. Something else. I'm talking a whole lot about yarn right now. I guess that's why we're here. Knitting, yarn, all of that kind of fun stuff. So I've been watching Nora George. I love watching the Nora George podcast, and I love her yarn. Love it. And I think this is where I saw it. She's been doing socks on her. She calls it Gertie. It's her sock knitting machine. And she's done a bunch of long socks, and then later on, like tubes, and then later on she adds the afterthought heel and the toes and all of that. And one of them that she showed was, I believe it was a colorway called the Beekeeper. And as soon as I saw it, I had to stop watching, and I had to go see if she still had that, because I know that she was using up a lot of old stash. So I didn't know if it was something old or something that she had in her store right now. So I went right away to her shop, and she didn't have it. So I was kind of, boo. I really wanted it. And it's funny that I wanted it because it's yellow. It's mainly yellow, and that is not really my color. But I've been into bees lately. I want to do everything related to bees. I want a bee project bag, and I want things named after bees, whether it's a colorway or it's a pattern. I want bees all the time. So I searched and searched. I went to Ravelry to see if anybody had this yarn in their stash for sale. I love that feature of Ravelry. You don't know how much of that yarn in my closet is from other people's destashes from Ravelry. So I searched and searched, and finally I found someone who had it for sale, and I got it. It's the palest of yellows, which makes me happy. I like it. And it's got just a little bit of peachy pink in there. It's got some greens, which I adore. I adore my green. I haven't even taken this off. I don't know what's under here, but look, there's some limey greens in there. I love it. It's got dark speckles. Oh, look, is that black? Yeah, that's black on my screen. At first I thought it looked blue, and I was like, it's got blue? I love blue, but it's not blue. So I was so happy that I found a person on Ravelry who had this listed for sale. And it just so happened they had, let me see, what base is this? This is also 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. The person who was selling this also had another of the same yarn for sale. This was 100 grams. She also had a smaller 50-gram skein in the colorway Blush. And I had to have it. I love this pink. It's super pretty. It's very light pink with some darker mauve speckles, but it's like a very pale pink. It's much different than what I dyed using the food coloring. The food coloring is definitely more of a not quite orangey pink. It's more on the orangey side than this pink. This is more of a bluey pink. Beautiful, beautiful. And I thought I can put them together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find me a pattern that I can use both of these at the same time. And I'm super excited. I've got my and I didn't show you this, the beekeeper. And then I've got the blush, and yay! I'm so excited. You don't even understand. I got this and I was just, yay me. Okay, confession. I went crazy one last time. One last time. I keep saying one last time, and it never ends up being one last time. I went to 3 different websites and I bought a whole bunch of yarn. I don't have it. I just ordered it the other day, so it hasn't come in yet. So maybe next week I'll have it to show you. Hopefully next week, but maybe not even until the week after. We'll see. So I ordered, oh my God, I can't even believe I did this. I just got through saying that I've only ever made one cardigan for myself. But for whatever reason lately, I have been wanting to make a bunch of different sweaters for myself. So I bought 3 sweater quantities in like 3 different colors from Knit Picks. So I got 6 skeins of a green yarn, 6 skeins of a purpley yarn, like a lilac-y purple color, and 6 skeins of like a turquoisey grayish color. All sweater quantities, and it's lace weight. It's like a heavy lace weight, light fingering kind of yarn. It's the Stroll, it's a Stroll Shadow yarn. And so the colorways that I got were opal, raspberry, and reed. I don't know what I was thinking, but I had already picked patterns for them. So it's not like I'm going to have it sit there and wonder, well, I don't know what pattern to make. I've already got patterns set aside. And by the way, a couple of them are Joji Locatelli cardigans. So super excited about that, because I have never knit a cardigan by her. And I know that I've got a couple of shawls that I want to knit by her. So I finally got the yarn that I've been wanting to do these things. So very excited about that. And so then that was one order. The other order was from Pandia's Jewels, and I had to order 2 skeins of fingering weight from her because the colors were amazing. One was this really pretty purple tonal, like deep purple tonal color, and then the other one was a speckly variegated kind of yarn with blues and greens and blacks and all the stuff that I love. So I just ordered those as well. And then the other one that I just got, I have never ordered from her. It's Expression Fiber. Is it Expression Fibers or is it Expression Fiber Arts? I can't remember. I just started following her on Instagram. Beautiful colors. And what I ended up ordering, all 3 types have silk in them. I got a fingering weight that is, I don't have my notes, but I've got 2, actually I got 4 fingering weights, but 2 are different. One has cashmere, it's silk, merino, and cashmere. I got 2 skeins of that, and I got 2 skeins of just silk and merino. Those 4 were all fingering weight. And then I got some sport weight, 1 color, 2 skeins of a 100% silk. So I think I'm going to be making a lot of cowls with those, because I can just imagine cashmere and silk all around my neck and just keeping me warm. Really, no more yarn. No. I could do this. I could do this. Crossing my fingers that I really can. Oh, you send me all the good vibes that I can stick to this. So I told you I don't have any FOs, and that's true. But what I do want to show you, I don't really talk a whole lot about my crocheting. I learned to crochet first, and I crocheted for 10 years before I actually decided that I wanted to knit, to learn how to knit. So one of the things that I love, and it was supposed to be a blanket, but I never finished it as a blanket, and I ended up I use it now as a runner on my dresser, because my dresser has like a marble kind of top to it, but I put stuff on it all the time. I don't want to get it scratched or whatever. So I use this, and it was just a scrap piece. It was gonna be a blanket, but I don't know whatever happened. I gave up on it, or I don't know what, but I didn't pull it out, and I never threw it away. Never, I just kept it and decided to use it as a runner. And it's mostly red heart, but it's got some other things in there. I think there's this green up here is actually a chenille. You're gonna see the difference there. But most of it is red heart. And it's just random colors, all separated by black. It kind of made me think of stained glass windows, but it's pretty and it's kind of heavy. But I just thought I'd show you. I don't normally show my crochet. I haven't really gotten into crocheting in a while. I've been thoroughly fascinated with knitting for the last few years, so I don't really crochet as much. Usually if a baby blanket is needed, I'll whip one up with crocheting, but I haven't done it in a while. I haven't really done a whole lot of reading on the Evil Under the Sun. Although audiobook, I found a while back some books by Alan Bradley, and it's the Flavia de Luce series, and it's it's this young girl, preteen age, English, set in, oh goodness, I want to say in the 1920s era, maybe 1940s, I'm not sure, but it's definitely not now. It's not set in these times. It's she's actually very gruesome. She's very much into poisons. That's her big thing. She's poisoned. So she comes from an astute kind of family, and she's got this whole wing of the house to herself, and she has a laboratory there, and she, they just kind of let her do whatever she wants, and she's always doing these scientific kind of things, and she's fascinated with science, and her speciality within her science, her love of science, is poisons. It's very funny. She's very gruesome, the way that she talks, but they're murder mysteries, and she somehow gets involved in these, and it's a very interesting twist on the murder mystery, amateur sleuth kind of thing, and I love it. And I've only ever experienced these books on audio, and whatever woman that they use as the narrator, she does wonderful voices, and the voice that she has chosen for the character of Flavia de Luce is the best voice ever. I love listening to it. I think the one that I'm on now is called The Graves of Fine, oh geez, it just went right out of my head. I'll have to put it here, but I love it. It's pretty far into the series, and I think I'm actually behind. I think there might be another one or two after that one, but I was so happy that this one finally came into my library on audio, so I've been listening to that. Very fun if you're into murder mysteries, especially on audio. I would suggest finding these Alan Bradley, Flavia de Luce books if you can. I'm sure they're wonderful just reading them normal, but I love audio so I can knit while I'm listening, and that's what I'm currently into as far as audiobooks. So Yay. That's what I've been doing, but I can hear my oven timer going off, so I better go check on dinner. I just wanted to show a few things that's going on as far as my crafting, and I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next week.